Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Community. It's great to be here with you, Rosie. Yes, I took some time off last week, and I know you were off the previous week, so the OG co-hosts are back together live discussing all things community. So folks who are joining along live with us today, welcome. If you are joining us, and you can jump in the chat. Hello to Chris Pratt. Lovely to see you join This Week in Community today. Comment about the community campfire. Yes, part of the iconography we have for This Week in Community. But Chris says, but I feel in this weather we need to swap the logs for a cone and give ourselves a 99. Absolutely. Get those ice creams in and cool off if possible. That's a great idea.
You know what I'm going to do after this, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
I'm gonna create a 99 ice cream with a fire on top in rainbow colours and a flake, and maybe bug peeking out as well, just for the hell of it.
Wonderful. And the fact it's called a 99, for those who are familiar with the Motiverse community that Rosa created and that I'm part of, that we both community build in and around and with. 99 is an important number. There's a thing called 99-second talks, which has been a tradition for a very long time. It's a good way for people at events, whether it's like a meetup or a chapter event or a conference, where that person can get up on stage. They could talk about whatever they want to talk about for 99 seconds. But we've seen historically in our community, people who do that build up the confidence to speak on webinars like masterclasses, to join AMAs, to speak at conferences, to do a longer talk at a meetup or chapter event. So 99. It's a nice connection to ice creams. I like it. So Rosie is coming. Immediately. I know, I can imagine you're quite tempted to do it live on the recording now.
Yeah.
Just to get it done. That's a challenge. But other than...
it's ADHD in me. I'm like, come on, let's go.
Let's go. Like, let's do it now. Totally get that. But if you are able to hold off just for another 58 minutes, if possible, how's your week in community been? What's been happening?
What's been happening? It's good to have you back, Simon. I guess you had a week off and I had a few days off before that. It was interesting to see if we can manage This Week in Community without the other half, so to speak. And we did. We managed to get a host. I managed to get a host. It was cool just to push ourselves to do that, because I guess we're quite ad hoc about it and it's still quite new, and I feel like we still have to do a lot of educating people about like what it is that we're doing and figuring out the community ops side of like what does this look like. But I guess like a reflection on that side of things. Like when we started, it was like a little side project, but I think in the back of our mind, we always thought it would, blend into the Motiverse, but we weren't sure at first whether to do that. But the more we did it without the Motiverse, the more I just couldn't.
Yeah.
It was, I kept getting frustrated. So we're starting to slowly bring it into the Motiverse. It's pretty, I like that. The chapters in general, I guess if we're reflecting on our week in community, we're pushing a lot for chapters and figuring out how to, I guess, communicate better the chapters, because we've changed stuff. We've made it so that you have to be a paid member to run them. And that wasn't how it was before, so it creates extra communication, I guess, is what
Yeah.
probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, bring in others who aren't paid members, still who are running chapters and figuring out how to, make that transition. So we're trying to do it as nicely as possible. But yeah, just seeing chapters grow within the Multiverse is amazing. Seeing the more we do it, the more we become a tech community and not just a quality and testing one.
Yeah.
Our AI chapter is obviously like our largest one at the moment.
What's it at?
But
About 250 or 260? I haven't checked for a while.
it's
Roughly.
almost at 404. I think
Oh my goodness! I
yeah,
haven't checked that number for a while. Then there you go.
I've been watching.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's obviously I think it's our largest one.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe MOT London is the second.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see it growing, and partly it's growing because obviously like AI is popular, but it's also the team behind it. Like
Yeah.
they're all putting in the effort, and they want to see it grow. So that's it's not just us; it's them, and yeah, I guess it's just caused a bit of reflection and thinking about how to talk about chapters as part of our pro membership. And yeah, I've been kind of pitching it as like, if you're a chapter leader, if you run a chapter or support a chapter, you're developing leadership skills.
Yep. 100%.
And because of that, you should be a pro member because we have to support you in that process as well. But it is a real value add that we're putting so much behind the chapters to help people lead and to help people have speaking opportunities. They're free to attend. They're volunteer led.
Yep.
We offer the option to record online stuff as well, which again is a cost that we take on that perhaps isn't always appreciated. So yeah, lots of costs involved for us, but trying to find that balance of how do we manage it as a team? How do we create those boundaries so that we feel well supported, so that the people who are showing up as chapter leaders are coming in positively, and it creates that kind of harmony. It's interesting.
It really is,
Yeah.
and I know yourself and Deanna Dromi, who we work with, was awesome, right? You two have faced some challenges, particularly moving from a model where people would be using another very popular platform for hosting get-togethers, not called gettogethers.com, but something similar. And transitioning away from that, and for folks understanding that chapters are part of the Multiverse, like wider system, that it's all connected to our star system. So people register for a chapter event, they will earn a star. If they turn up and get checked in, they earn a star. Stars are connected to people's profile pages. Stars are a proxy for showing up and participating and demonstrating, hey, I'm giving attention to my career and other people's careers. Plus, people can create moments. Moments are blog posts that can include photos and some commentary or a blog reflection of a particular chapter event. But it's all joined up. Everything's connected. And I think, this kind of platform that we built, again, which costs money, and it costs money to service it, and we continually iterate on it from a product platform perspective. Like we will be updating the chapter pages soon enough. Yeah, that takes effort, but to communicate that in a way where folks might be like, oh, I have to pay for this stuff. It's like, well, yes, but it's the benefit of leading is immense, because to your point around people developing their leadership skills, that's all transferable to their workplace, and even other community projects that they're running locally, perhaps in their local town, or they're volunteering at some schools or other places, a nursing home or whatever, right? These are all skills that people develop, how you bring people together, how you make people feel welcome, how you organize, how you promote, how you amplify, how you follow up, how you help people build connections. Like that's a lot of stuff that people can get from being a chapter lead, and also, you know, being a volunteer as part of the chapter as well. So it's cool. I love it.
It's cool. It is. And it's cool to be able to build it yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just like, wow. The
Yeah.
flexibility we have, the data we see, it's just like, this is so interesting, so inspiring, really, that yeah, I can't go back. It's like, we can't unsee it is a phrase that
Can't see it. Yeah.
I can't unsee it. I'm just like, yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess it ties into the idea of like community as a service as well. It's like, we're trying to pitch better what that means. And I guess in my head, I'm trying to spot things that are community as a service as we're seeing them. And I think the ability to lead a chapter is a service that we offer.
Yeah.
Because in most circumstances, it's just so hard to get any kind of traction on any kind of group, you know, chapter type thing. So it's like, we help things happen, you know, we help make things happen. And that should be valued. And it is, and it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
It's going to keep growing, and it's just, yeah, amazing to be able to be in this position to do that, and to see people signing up. It's pretty amazing. I think it's getting close to. I think it's 150, 160 people registered for the event tomorrow, the AI event tomorrow.
Amazing.
So that's, you know, cool. Very cool.
That's a good sign. I think it's something to be said for, I don't know, I think for any community member, not just within the Motiverse, but in general, that kind of faith that a member can put in a platform that may not be familiar to them. They may not, you know, or let me put it another way. If someone's using a platform that they're like, oh, I don't really care who's building this. I'm just using this thing because this is the way I have to connect to other members, then so be it. So I've had that experience as a member of another community that's built on a kind of custom out the box platform. Shall I mention it? I don't want to disrespect these platforms, but I find it so overwhelming. I'm like completely lost in it, and I don't know where to go. And it's actually stopped me from contributing. And I'm like, it's a real shame. I need to make more of an effort. I need to understand the platform. Yeah, and I'm a community person, so I really should be doing that. But I just get so overwhelmed by it. I'm like, yeah, can't do it. Maybe I'll just keep turning up to the in-person event, and I know how to get access to that. But all the other stuff, like the online chats that are happening, just feels too much. So it's nice to remind myself to be a community member. And it's hard to do that as community builders, right? To truly step into the shoes of a member, particularly on our own. We can't, right? We can try our very, very best. And I think we do our very best to do that, to have empathy, to understand member needs, and see how we can help people identify their needs and then encourage them to go for it within our platform. Yet to be a real member of your own community is tough. So being members of other communities where you're just a member and you're not in a leadership role, as much as it's hard for us to not want to influence and try and lead that community, it's like just observe and take it all in and think about the member experience. I think there's something to be said about that. And maybe, I don't know, as builders, we should just try and join as many communities as we possibly can. And I know, Rosie, you're part of many different communities. So it'd be interesting to get your take on what it's like being a member using different platforms that you probably know are third party built, and also just trying to remain fresh as a member with an experience that might not be clear.
Yeah. Well, you know, I would also say that, you know, I don't think our platform is necessarily easy to understand at first, because it's different, and it takes a while to familiarize yourself with with the surroundings. So, I don't want it to come across as like, we've got this amazing platform where you can get started quickly. It kind of takes a bit of getting used to, I think, for people to understand what's going on, especially as we do things differently. So we're always trying, and you made me think about onboarding, and I think one of the things that we have been getting better at is personal onboarding, which you've been doing with teams.
Yeah.
Like as soon as a new team signs up, then we do our best to reach out and try to arrange a group team onboarding session, and I think those have been great. But definitely room for improvement, like email flows and stuff like that. We currently don't have things set out like that, but maybe, we definitely should. But it's it's not quite up at the top of the to-do list. Especially for I guess paid members. When they sign up as pro, it's like, should we be offering a onboarding session for them as well, or it's hard to it's hard to figure it out. But yeah, other platforms, it's just like, it's overwhelming. But any place you go, I think it's overwhelming. I think community platforms in general, I guess like my frustration is always like when a community platform launches, you always know that it's just going to be about discussions.
Yeah. Written discussions, right?
Written discussions.
Yeah.
And that's their community. And I guess that part kind of like frustrates me. It's like community is more than discussions. And yeah, I just wish it wasn't the case. But like, I think, I don't mind like Beehive was like the most recent one that I've seen. They just launched community. But overall their product, it's not a diss against their product. They've got newsletters, and then they've got, I think, podcasts, and it's all becoming more of an all-in-one, which I think is a really positive thing. I guess it's more me, like I see newsletters and podcasts as community.
Yeah.
So it's like the idea that like you're launching a community platform and it's a discussions part is just that my mind is, that's a bit old school in my brain, at least. It's like I wish we could move away from that angle as an industry. But yeah, I don't know what the solution is for that. But yeah, I'd love to see better ideas around what community is, and it's everything. So it's like, it's almost like, how dare we declare that community is everything? Do we have a right to do that? I do. I want to, but like,
of course you do.
Not everyone thinks like that. It's like, so I guess those are the challenges of like, maybe the overall experience of, someone who sets up a community on Beehive and they have a newsletter and podcast. It's always going to be a minority that go to the community part, right? But yeah, I think I get frustrated that it gives community a bad name, when actually, all the good bits, are all the good bits going to other industries, so to speak. A podcast is getting all the benefits of community because they're just doing community through a podcast and they get results that way. But in my head, that's that is community. So, but then if community is just discussions on the side, it's never gonna get a seat at the table if it's all just seen as a discussion. So it's like,
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
It makes me think about trying to think of something that's analogous to the world of, say, software testing, where sometimes there's a rhetoric where, anyone could do testing. So you could say, anyone can do community. So you just get the platform, you do the thing on the platform, and then ta-da, community. It's like you could hire a tool to do some testing for you, and ta-da, testing, and It's not the case. And I wonder if there's a bit of that maybe. And it's, I understand it from a platform's perspective that they want to make it easy for anyone to spin up a community and just sort of get communitying, whatever that really means. So yeah, maybe it is partly to do with that. And it's not. I'm not saying that in any way of blaming platform or tool providers, because I get why they do it. They're spotting a need of some sort. But to your point, if I've understood correctly, it's probably not doing the world or community any favors to say this is the scope of community and it's this much. When you and I and other community builders out there are like, well, actually, it's all these different systems and how they're interconnected, and it's much bigger. And it's okay to say it's much bigger. And maybe that mapping exercise is something, I know you writing for yourself and others on Rosie Land is a way of you mapping that stuff. Of course it is, and it has been for many years. Yeah, it feels like maybe consolidating all that writing, what other people are writing about, brings together, this is the map of community. Like, and if that's possible as a visual or something, some lightweight database or something that just maps it and makes it a bit clearer. Don't know where my brain's going with that one, but it's like, it's like trying to say, okay, let's use testing again. It's trying to say to someone, oh, here's how you do testing. And it's so hard to describe it if you've never done it before. It's years of practice. It's a proper skill and it takes years of practice. So to suddenly give it to someone instantly and they get it instantly, you can understand why they don't. And that's okay. So I think that's our challenge as community builders. Like, how do we first of all inspire other community builders who are new to the industry so they can level up perhaps faster than they would do without other community professionals to support them and help them learn and grow, and then they can contribute and everyone grows. All of that's good stuff. And also, how do we educate members about the value of community without being patronizing, without stating the obvious, without misunderstanding, without saying something that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, without overwhelming people, without putting out too much friction, but a little bit, so they have to work at it, encouraging them to think longer term instead of short term, given that social media says short term is the way forward, news cycles say short term is the way forward. It is hard, right? It is complicated to do both those things.
I think the attention spans are only getting worse. I definitely feel that at the moment. Like, people literally don't read stuff. Probably because they're fed up of AI slop. Who knows? I don't know. I guess that's a whole other minefield. But yeah, I mean, and the testing example is interesting. Anyone can test, but now anyone can code as well. Which is another
interesting.
Anyone can design. Like, you and I are product designers, aren't we?
Of course. Brilliant. Experts.
You're looking at a multidisciplinary team,
Yeah.
You were testing today as well, which is interesting.
Yeah. Back to my roots.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's nice to be able to dip into many things, I think. But I guess it's also nice having your one thing that drives you. For me, that's community.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I wonder then, or maybe there's something about how can we address big question here. Just thinking about like the short attention spans and things served up on a plate by AI. How, as community professionals, can we address that for our members and also for other community builders out there? And does it need addressing? Is it a case of just going, well, this is a reality, we've got to roll with it and adapt and work with it within those constraints, or do we counter it, or somewhere in between? Where do we go with that?
Yeah. What are we doing about it? Boundaries maybe sprung to mind.
Yeah.
What are our boundaries?
Yeah.
And they're forever changing, right? Especially as AI changes, or the world changes. Like, I guess for me, it's like I'm getting better at spotting AI slop, for example. Like some people don't spot it, and I'm just like, no, that's AI.
Yeah.
Not having that.
Yeah.
So like boundaries of what to reject. I mean, there was one recently where I just looked at the titles and I was like, that's definitely AI. And someone's proposing to write an article. And I was like, just looking at the title, I'm not accepting that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm not even going to bother reading the thing or trying to be flexible. So I was like, that's AI. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess boundaries. What are our boundaries? What are the values we stick to? But playing within those, I think as well, like, you know, we have AI boundaries of what we accept, but we also use AI internally as well.
Mm.
And it's figuring out how do we use it? What do we use it for? But yeah, today I wrote a moment in the Multiverse, and at the end I signed it off saying this, forgive me for my typos, but this was written by hand.
It's brilliant.
And it was so I didn't feel the need to spin up AI to help me with ideas. And increasingly, I just love the imperfectness when everything's so perfect. And I read a stats, something like on LinkedIn, 41% of the content there at the moment is apparently AI slop.
Jeez. I saw that. I saw you mention. It's like,
and it's just like,
the neck.
And I do love social to a certain extent, but it's like I'm kind of getting to the point of like I love showing up in the Multiverse. I love just writing and sharing what's on our mind, how we're doing things. I try to be educational, but at the same time, I'm just writing things that are that feel personal. I'm not trying to be the best educator. I'm not trying to have the best tips. I'm just showing up as me.
Mm.
And I think over the years we've lost that, not just because of AI, but also because of just like the general creator influencer type world we live in.
Yeah.
It's all focused on perfection, and yeah, I don't like it. And like Gary did a post today, and he's amazing. And whenever he writes, you can kind of it's Gary.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, we keep saying this. Like,
Yeah.
Gary is a great example. It's his voice,
Yeah.
it's him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess like in the Multiverse, we've been doubling down on conversations because of that, and because even our forum, like most of the posts that are submitted are is spam to some extent.
Yeah.
And it's not your traditional spam that you're used to. It doesn't always have links now. It's like it's mentioning company names to then appear in results, and I think I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to show up and be human. I'm like doing more on my personal blog now. Instead of just like thinking I have to post on social, it's like no, I'm just gonna post on my blog or post in the Multiverse, and that's my default. But yeah, I forget what the question was, but that was the answer.
No, that's that's what you're getting. Fair play. Fair play. Whatever the answer, I'm loving it. No, it's great reflections. And I think we have seen that. And we have seen with some members where we know it's not their voice. If they comment on something, we know it's been written by AI. And we're like, we just want to hear your voice. Even if we can understand, certainly for many members, let's say English might not be their first language. We understand using AI tools to support them, to help with that. yeah, we really want to hear people just, spelling mistakes and punctuation errors, all that stuff. Just hear them and their voice and who they are. Because as community builders, we're like, let's connect, let's chat. We don't want to just chat with an AI response and receive an AI response to things. It's just, I feel uninspired by that. Like, I don't, and it sounds bad as a community manager, builder. I don't want to engage with a member who keeps on using AI to reply to stuff. Like, I'll be blunt. And it feels like I really, really want to say to some people, like, just say it, say it as is, like in your voice. We want to hear your voice. Like, it's really important because, if everyone relied on AI for all of their commenting or what they're sharing, you just be so, it's just so dull. It's just so like, yeah, actually it's counter diverse. And I think it just, everything just consolidates to one voice, and that's just not good enough. So like, I think maybe it's our, yeah, maybe that's our duty, you know, the importance of diversity in a community for us to really amplify that, saying, just give us your voice. Whatever it sounds like, looks like, reads like, we want to see it, we want to hear it. And that's why, to amplifying your point about conversations like what you and I are having now, conversations we've had with our members. So, we've got the Into the Multiverse podcast, Call for Insights initiative. We've had Leading with Quality. We have This Week in Quality. It's people talking. You can't like fake it. You can't send your AI version of yourself to that conversation. Maybe one day, that'd be scary, but we'll spot it. We'll be ready for it. So give it a try. See what happens. But people can't. Yeah.
There's a test that you're supposed to do, like
All
put your
right.
hand.
Oh, there it is.
So
I can't. Busted. Let's not go higher. Rumbled, Rosie. Oof, there you go. You're okay. So yeah, it's like, maybe that day will come, and it will be another interesting challenge for us us community builders to deal with. But I say bring it on. The people bringing themselves to a conversation is awesome. And talking of which, we have some people in the chat that might want to join us up on stage. So lovely to see Drew Pontikis, who shares, I enjoy the challenge of doing community activities that AI can't reach. Yes, doing things in person and completely offline, so no AI can listen or influence. Oh, that's interesting. Influence is an interesting one. So yeah, how is AI influencing our activity? So setting up a boundary to sort of stop AI influencing some of those conversations. That's interesting.
yeah, I think it zaps the creativity.
Yeah.
If like you're writing something and it just presents something and it seems good enough, but yeah, I don't know. I'm hitting peak AI something. I think the web needs it as well. I don't think it's just AI. I think it's just everything looks the same. Like sometimes I'm on LinkedIn and I don't know if I'm on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Right, they look similar. Yeah.
So similar, and I have to like check myself.
Yeah.
And so yes, I still use Facebook for local stuff.
No, I get that. Yeah.
But it's like it's like, yeah, it's just hard to know. It's like, what's the context? They all look the same. And there is a bit of a movement towards, different, I guess the open web, the Fediverse, they try to be different and more funky, I guess. There's a few websites like omg.lol, oh my god, lol. There's it's a fun, creative type website. And I guess, I wish we could experiment a bit more rather than just accept the defaults. And I guess like AI is that you easily accept the defaults, but we accept the defaults in so many places.
Yeah, totally.
Dr.
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 Default.
Default. I can't believe I went there, but yeah, Dr.
It's
Default.
amazing.
But yeah, it's like there's no innovation there, I guess. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do. Was like, yeah, it just feels very, very rigid. No, very uninspiring.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep coming back to like the short-termism or 24-hour news cycles or fast-paced stuff on social media, and it's kind of saying to people like, you don't need to make an effort. You could just get the stuff, and it'll just come at you quickly and onto the next thing. And maybe there is something about that with how products and services are built, that there's just not enough friction. And actually thinking about it, Nicola and I touched on this a couple of weeks ago, like what is necessary friction for a community member to have to do a bit of work to get the good stuff, not just get it all on a plate and it's very straightforward and easy. Because, perhaps if folks get things easy, then it's not as valued as much. So, I think perhaps there are some bits and pieces reflecting on the multiverse. You said earlier on, it's not the simplest platform to get straight away. If people are willing to explore, the good stuff happens. But it's like, how as builders do we put that up front? How do we say that to a member who's new, to say, commit some time and effort. Like, you're going to have to work a bit here. It's not just all going to be, you're not going to be entitled to get everything. That sort of sense of entitlement that perhaps can happen when folks can join a community or have lots of experience in an industry and expect good stuff to kind of come their way because of who they might be, where it's like, no, everyone's got to work for this. I find that interesting, the kind of the two-way opportunity for sort of transactional connection between builder and member, which can tend to bias the member and their needs, when if it's benefits for both builder and member, that's when the good stuff happens. Yeah, maybe as a member it's not as obvious that's the case.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't know. I don't think it's as simple as that. I've oversimplified it, but
Well, I was asked the question by someone a few days ago. Say, how would you measure a community? How do you know if it's doing well? My default answer was, it's the R test. At every point, everything you're doing, is it passing the R test? Is that really measurement? Kind of. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with this. But oh yeah, sorry. So they asked, and in that same conversation, it was kind of like, do you have any good examples of communities? And my instant reaction was like, no, apart from what we're building. But then I kind of backtracked. I was like, there are some good examples of what I've been researching, but none of them have all the pieces of what I consider to be a great community.
Yeah.
So there's lots of little pieces of people doing good stuff that we can be inspired from. And of course, not every community can do it all, right? But it's like there are different ways of doing it, and we can seek inspiration. But I'm still not seeing like really good examples of real community-led, good community product management, or products, should I say? So I see that as an opportunity. So I try, that I try to flip that and say, oh, this is great. It's a chance to innovate and do something about it. I hope. Praise be.
Fingers crossed. Indeed. Oh, I see. Drew has joined us on stage. This is very good. Drew Pontikis.
Hello.
Welcome. Hello.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I clicked the join the stage button, then you started talking about metrics, and I frantically wanted to back out again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
The metrics question, the metrics debate.
It's already ended. Don't worry.
It's done. No more metrics chat. There you go. There's talking about boundaries. There's one.
Well, I can tie my point to that if you like. So, you were talking a little bit earlier about about how AI is influencing communities and what's good and what's not. And I think what I've found is there's a bit of a mental trap that having easy access to AI in community spaces causes, which is that it makes creation of things so easy that we can debate as to whether what it creates is valuable or not, but it makes it really easy to do so, and the focus can very easily switch from the experience to seeking to just create stuff and create community assets, and that drives a change in behavior in the community members that I've experienced with. And so when I commented in the chat, one of what the sentiment behind that is I try and make sure the communities that I'm part of have experiences which are just for the value that is created is just through the experience, and being part of the experience is the thing. So it might not be recorded, it might not produce an outcome. The actual value that you get is the discussion that you have. And that, if I were to tie that to the metrics question, is I try and measure the things that matter. So if we have if we have a conversation, or we take to perform an activity as part of a community session together, what comes from that? What occurs off the back of that? And what does that enable somebody else to do whose viewpoints get changed? And those are the material things that we can measure, because they are no longer intangible things, because you can see them because something has happened. But the actual value that we've delivered as within that community is we have enabled and unlocked some thinking in our members. I feel like I've rambled. I haven't said that for a while. Yeah,
I agree. Even though in the Motiverse we try to record and log as much as we can, so like a lot of our insights, corporate insights, are recorded, one-to-one conversations. But we've definitely let go of the point of the conversation is not to get a lot of views. The point of the conversation is the connection between the two people. Having that conversation, and what comes of it later is not necessarily that we've recorded it, but it's just that they've hopefully personally grown in some kind of way, or they'll leave in a more positive place. But then, like, the action of recording is not, I guess it's moving away from the views and seeing like actually recording it creates value for them later, because they have something to reflect upon, or in the context of the Motiverse, they have something to potentially show their employers. They say, I did this is part of my learning activity. I have proof of it, and it's just there as part of our community activities. But yeah, not everything's tracked. Like a lot of the chapters, like in-person stuff, it's just like, off the record kind of stuff as well. So it's us trying to find that balance of, there are good things happening, there are opportunities to connect, and letting go of the numbers is hard, especially when you have like partners, sponsors like breathing down your neck, and they want to know everything about your platform, and you're just like, no. It's hard to manage the expectations of everyone, I guess. You have different people wanting different things.
Yeah. I think that's a valid point, because everybody will have different expectations and a different interpretation of what value is. It's the same as quality. Quality is value to someone. So, the question of numbers is an interesting one, and I'm assuming this is being recorded and it'll appear somewhere in the Motiverse at some point. And I don't know right now. There might be 500 people who are part of this conversation. It might just be the three of us. I'm still getting value out of it today and being part of this experience, but that will be different to the person who in 6 months' time stumbles across it via a keyword search in the Motiverse, finds this, listens to what we have to say, and it inspires an idea or a conversation off the back of that. So, I suppose it's I suppose it depends on what it is you're seeking from what you're. Sorry, depends what you are seeking. Depends what value you might find from it.
I love that. You touch on, Drew, make a really good point, and it's that kind of longer termism that I guess we're touching or have touched on, the opposite of the short termism approach, where we never know what will happen off the back of a conversation, years down the line. And that's what I love about what good communities can enable, just those sort of connections between, one or two, one-to-one humans or a small group that at some point be like, oh yeah, I remember that
Your
thing
mic's
that
gone
we
off.
did. Oh, is my microphone
Can't
gone?
hear you.
Oh,
check. Any
I
better?
can hear you.
Ah, there we go. Drew, you can hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Testing and production.
Oh.
I'll keep talking, Rosie, until you're maybe some audio stuff. Thank you, Chris, for confirming in the chat. Yeah, that kind of, we never know what can come of something, right? Until we actually do the act of the community thing, whatever that community activity is. And I think that's also part of the challenge for lots of members, is to, if all the answers aren't up front, like expect this, expect that, this will happen, etc., etc., etc. For some folks, I think it'd be quite overwhelming. Like, I need to have a bit more of an idea of what to expect. Like, I'm going to commit my time to this. Like, what am I getting in return? And I think our challenge as builders is to sometimes say to folks, you might not know. We've got good evidence to suggest that you'll likely get this from it, but give it a try, give it a shot. And the call for insights is a good example of that. There's many folks I've spoken to, and I'd love to have that conversation with you at some point, Drew, on a call for insights, where people have been a bit hesitant and they're like, "Oh, this isn't for me. What have I got to say? I can't record this. It's too much pressure." But it's also been a way for them to build their confidence. And at the end of it, like, my metric is, do they book another one? Are they up for recording? And if someone does that, I'm like, yes, that's my metric. They got value in that moment, articulated some thoughts, built confidence in speaking publicly, the slight pressure of being on a recorded call and all that stuff, knowing that it will go public and available. But it's that kind of into the unknown that I feel both community members and community builders need to be willing to do and embrace that unknown, probably more often than we like to do, is maybe what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think that perhaps strikes me as the sort of cornerstone of an effective community. It's creating the conditions, the space, the psychological safety, and the opportunity for people to go outside of their comfort zone and to create and to do things that they wouldn't do otherwise. And I think I can think of various times where I've come to a point where, oh, well, I don't know, I don't think I can do this, or I don't know about that. And so someone in the community has just given a little word of encouragement or a little bit of support or a little bit of feedback, and it's helped me go beyond that. And now you think, I can't believe I was ever worried about doing that. And, then that all becomes circular, and you think, okay, well, I can feed that energy back into the community. And I remember what it was like being at this point in my life, and I remember the difficulties I had, and I remember this is the challenge, so come on, I'll help you, we'll support through it. And now that goes on again and again, and that's the real joy of having community for me.
Love it. Rosie, how are those headphones? They've taken a little break, they're back in business. Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, back in business.
I've got to drop off now. Sorry.
Great to see you, Drew. Thanks for being part of today. We'll see you around. Bye.
Bye.
Good to see you, Drew. Good human.
Yeah.
Good community.
Very good human.
Yeah,
I love his work on communities of practice as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good blog. Lots of good thoughts and ideas, and can highly recommend it. We will include a link to Drew's blog in the show notes, of course.
But yeah, we've got a few minutes left. I guess, maybe there's time to sneak in another quick topic. I was thinking about Slack and Claude recently, and kind of like tackling the whole love-hate situation with Slack, where it's like in community Slacks specifically, not for like internal Slacks. How does Claude change the game? And like, we haven't yet connected Claude up to our community Slack, but I've been thinking about how to do it, and like, I almost think like we could set it up so that Claude captures the history for us, potentially. I'm not sure how we would do that, but I think that's like one interesting angle. Based on how we're using it internally, we could easily gather interesting conversations quickly, what's happening, do, roundups of what's happening in the Slack. Maybe that's an interesting thing, like once a week we say, point people to interesting discussions. But yeah, I'm curious if you have any thoughts on Claude and Slack and how we might use it for doing better with our Slack communities.
Yeah. Claude or Claudette, either one. So we refer to Claude as Claudette internally at the Motiverse, which Deanna started, which is wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I think of a conversation I had with Lisa Crispin, so a wonderful community member, part of the Motiverse and beyond. And she kind of highlighted on the research from Dora, Google's kind of approach to developing products and services. And they were sort of concluded that, AI is an amplifier of good behavior and bad behavior. Like that was their kind of thing. So I wonder if we framed it like that, what good behavior do, say, you, I, and others within the Slack do? Like we list all that stuff, and then we go, how could we amplify that with Claude? Like, what would that look like? So that could be one way of getting into it. And also thinking like, well, what is bad behavior? Maybe sounds like the wrong term, but like, because we're pretty fortunate in our community Slack that we don't tend to have to deal with bad actors. We've done very well. We've got layers of care in place for that. We've done all right. But if there were bad behaviors or bad things going on, we could definitely use Claude to help us identify that and take action. But there's definitely value in repurposing information that's shared. I like that idea. Summaries. So we've got a Claude skill that it's just a very basic one at the moment internally on our Slack, which looks for our wins channel, which we can open up, which we discussed before, open up to a whole of our internal Slack to spot wins and get sentiment of good things that are happening, summarize that each month. Maybe there's a wins of the week summary that is automatically done by Claude. It parses the whole of our community Slack and brings it all together and tags people, amplifies them, and says, go give these people a star to say congrats on your achievements this week. Here's a link to their profile. Just click the button, give them a star. Like, so we as, it just does that for us, and that'd be pretty cool. So it's like how help us celebrate some of the achievements of our members when they're sharing stuff and infer that.
Yeah. Also got me thinking, is like, how would bad actors use it as well? So, I mean, there's the potential that any community Slack you're in, someone's potentially scraping it for data.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they might not have access to emails and stuff like that, like the admin side of it, but that's what do you do about that? What can you do anything about it? But it's I don't think you yeah, and it kind of feels like these days nothing is private, which is a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's kind of I just don't necessarily want to put these ideas into people's heads either. Another aspect that I quite like is kind of inspired by something we're doing internally is just to use Slack conversationally so that Slack then picks up on what we're talking about and kind of gives us reminders to address stuff. So it's like, especially because like we use our Slack a lot. It's not so much. I mean, there are conversations and help requests and I guess forum type discussions that go on in there.
Mhm.
But really, like the goal of our Slack is to collaborate with people and to be able to easily message people. So with that perspective, it's kind of like we could have conversations in there, but not feel like we have to go immediately and add something to a Trello card because that, requires like a mental context switch.
Yeah.
Exactly. For me, at least, it's like, oh, I have to go and do that other thing, and then I get distracted and I forget. But I think the beauty of AI is the conversational aspect of it being able to make sense of some of the things that are going on.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like a report to remind you of your to-dos and things that, based on conversations, are outstanding. I think that's interesting.
Becomes like the inbox mentality that we talk about sometimes, where that becomes just another inbox to work your way through, and Claude has created that inbox for you to get off, work your way through it. Then the other side you made me think of is we get lots of feedback. Like, we're very grateful for, given our community are majority of quality professionals. They're great at giving feedback, sharing thoughts and ideas about our platform and experience. So it could gather that each week and produce a report that we can then action on. Because I definitely miss stuff. Like, I say that openly and honestly. Either I forget to capture it, or I think, well, we don't have to deal with it just now. But then it would also sense check kind of sentiment. If people keep saying similar things which are related, then that's giving us a signal. We have to manually spot that, and we kind of do. We do our best too, but I'm sure Claude could also amplify our capability of spotting those signals from members saying, "Oh, this doesn't make sense," or "There's this problem here." I keep, some sort of flow that doesn't quite work for them. Sure, it could do that. And then also the reminder each week to say, right, give these people stars. Because if someone shares an idea or they find a bug, I have to manually remember to go on their profile page and give them a star to say they found a bug or they shared feedback or whatever, like loads of stuff. Maybe it could give me that report at a certain time each week. I block out that hour and just go on my star giving mission at that time, instead of as you say, the context switch to go from Slack to our platform to do that. I find it okay, but sometimes there's too much going on, and it will slip, and it are added to my Slack reminders, and it just gets lost.
Yeah. Makes me wonder if it would be better at connecting users to the MOT profiles as well. If there's a way for it to remember that, because that can be a little task that adds to our workload.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Initial thoughts. We are close to 60. We like our constraints and boundaries, and 60 minutes is our boundary, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes I forget, so not today.
Not
But
today.
Yeah, another week in community. Thank you very much, Simon.
Thank you very much, Rosie. Always a pleasure to chat, and it was lovely to have Drew join us as well. People can join the chapter. Just head over to ministrytesting.com/chapters. Look for TWIC or This Week in Community. You can join. We notify you when these are happening, and all the recordings are bundled up in that chapter.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.